Welcome to Bruce Hurwitz Presents Meet the Experts. I'm your host, Bruce Hurwitz of Hurwitz Strategic Staffing. You can find us on the web at hsstaffing.com. I hope you'll consider us for all your staffing, career counseling, and professional writing needs. Momentarily, I will be joined by Josh Thomas for a discussion on practical AI business strategies. Meet the Experts is sponsored by P&K CPAs. P&K is a full-service accounting firm. They provide accounting and consulting services to businesses ranging from startups to small and mid-cap companies to nonprofits as well as high-net-worth individuals. Contact them today for a free consultation at info@pk-cpas.com or call them at 973-882-8810. They will be happy to be of service. Josh, welcome to the program.
Hey, super happy to be here, man.
It's my pleasure. Please take a moment or two and introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yep, you got it. I'm Josh. I live in Austin, Texas, and I've been an entrepreneur for the last coming on 2 decades, building sales teams and sales processes for small business. And we recently took all of the data and processes and systems that we've built across 30 different industries and turned it into an AI company and found a way to automate the majority of somebody's sales process up to 80 to 90% by using AI. And those are some of the things that we're talking about right now to kind of educate the community at large of business owners and entrepreneurs who are curious about AI, but not necessarily trying to become tech geniuses or AI gurus or anything like that. I know I'm not, but we've found ways to use AI in practical ways that does not necessarily require you to go and back to school and get an engineering degree.
Well, let's begin with a simple question, which I know has a complicated answer. What is AI?
Very good. So the technical term and definition of AI is artificial intelligence. And actually, that term was first coined all the way back in 1955, almost 70 years ago. People were using the term artificial intelligence. So technically speaking, it is a machine that is performing advanced calculations to make it look like it is making intelligent decisions, but it's really just it's making decisions based on data. What it's evolving into, and what I think everybody should really start thinking of it as, is augmented intelligence. And what that really means is humans are still superior in many ways. While a computer can calculate millions of math equations in a fraction of a second, way better and faster than a human ever could, a human still has discernment. And the machine only has calculations, and we can get those calculations vast and robust enough to mimic discernment, but it'll never match what a human can do. And so we want to use machine learning, automation, artificial intelligence. We want to use it to augment our abilities as human beings, to offload the repetitive tasks that can be delegated or automated by a machine, so that we can elevate ourselves up to higher level tasks that require more critical thinking skills that will be years before a machine can ever do.
Now, one thing the machine would not say at this point is I forgot the man's name, but you will probably know it. There's a test that decades ago was invented to see whether or not a computer was the artificial intelligence of the computer was true intelligence. And that was if a person did not realize they were talking to a computer instead of a person.
The Turing test, Alan Turing.
Turing test. Very good. I knew you'd know it.
That's right. Yeah, the imitation game. There's a movie about it actually, yeah. But back in the I believe it was World War II, and he was trying to decode the systems the Nazis were using, and he did.
Now, most people, I think today, their interaction with AI, or they think their interaction with AI, is with chatbots, where you get those aggravating phone calls. Are,
Depends.
are chatbots AI?
It depends. So there are chatbots that are powered by AI. We actually build them and deploy them, and then there are chatbots that are powered more by, let's call it, logic. If then statements. If they say A, then you send result A. If they say B, then you send result B. And there's no AI involved in that. You're just basically door number one or door number two, you get whatever's behind it. Most chatbots are set up like that. Some of them are powered by AI, which means that you ask it a question, it takes the question that you ask and it figures out what you mean, and then it provides an answer in a conversational way. And so it's much more sophisticated, and it's much more difficult to tell if you're talking to a human or not.
Now, you said that AI, and I'm glad you did, was great for repetitive tasks. I see AI as a tool, but a dangerous tool in this way. I have in front of me a computer with a keyboard, and it made my life a lot easier because it's a lot easier to use a word processor than a typewriter. Corrections and appearance, life is easy, but it's a tool and I still have to do the work. Many people use AI as a tool that will save them from doing not repetitive work, but basic fundamental work such as research, such as writing. And if we're going to, let's not get into hallucinations. If we're going to use AI to do the grunge work and to produce a final product, is that good or is that bad?
So the best way to answer that is to remind everyone and take the thought of AI away from it for a minute. Like, let's forget about AI. If you ask a fifth grader to write a novel, you're going to get a novel from a fifth grader's perspective and a fifth grader's knowledge of language. If you ask a best-selling author to write a novel, then you're going to get a different level of result from the novel because you have better inputs. And better inputs produce better outputs. If you asked Chef Gordon Ramsay to make you a meal, you're going to get an amazing meal because of the inputs that you get. If you ask your Aunt Sheila to make you a meal, Aunt Sheila may be a great cook, but she's probably not Gordon Ramsay.
Be careful what you say.
Well, fortunately, I don't have an aunt named Sheila, so. but that's the idea. Better inputs produce better outputs. And so the same thing is true with AI. Almost everybody on the planet has heard of ChatGPT, even if they've never used it. And ChatGPT is basically a web page where you can type an answer, or type a question, or a comment, or a request, and then you're going to be speaking directly with an artificial intelligence machine that can understand your request and provide a response for you. Now, the quality of your input is going to determine the quality of your output. And so if you say, write me a 250-word article on the importance of a good night's rest, it's going to go and pull all of the information it has available, which is just kind of like the whole world of knowledge blended up together. And then it's going to spit out something at you to say, is this what you wanted? And if you think about blending everything together, back to food. I like a nice steak dinner. Sorry, vegans. But I like a nice steak dinner, probably with some broccolini with a little bit of olive oil and salt, pepper, maybe some garlic mashed potatoes. Man, that sounds amazing. Now let's take all of that, stick it in a blender, and then try to eat it. It's not going to taste anywhere near the same. That's what's happening with AI is it's pulling all of this information from all of the world and then just giving you this mushy blended nonsense. So what you have to do is you have to just give it some guardrails. And you have to say, I want you to position yourself as a 20-year sleep expert that's a physician. And you speak in a matter-of-fact tone, in plain language. And we're going to talk specifically about the benefits to men over 40 of getting a good night's sleep of at least 8 hours. Write me a 250-word article about that. The result that you get will be far superior because you put better inputs, you get better outputs. And what we've seen is sometimes just telling it what kind of tone and style you want it to write in will produce a superior result. The best example I can give is we do this, we have a training that we do where we talk about how to use ChatGPT to create one really great piece of content without ever typing a word. We call it Talk GPT. That's our training. And the one thing we do is we go through an exercise and we figure out, well, what do we actually want to write about? We got to figure that out first, better inputs. Yeah. And then the other thing that we do to make it a little bit special is we add a tone and a style. And so we've tried a lot of different tones and styles. One of them was Robin Williams. Write this article in the style and tone of Robin Williams. Write this in the style and tone of Lord of the Rings. We've done that. Jurassic Park, Ernest Hemingway. And then one guy, after we were telling him some examples, like we've done Jurassic Park and blah, blah, blah. And then he said, can you do the Jurassic Park dinosaur? And we're like, I don't know. And then so we just said, all right, rewrite this article in the tone and style of the Jurassic Park dinosaur. And sure enough, man, like it gave the article, and then like every few words it would stop and just say, grr, roar. It was hilarious. But it all has to do with, if you put good inputs in there, you're going to get good outputs. Bad inputs create bad outputs. And so if you want to be able to write good content and get great stuff out of AI, you have to think about what human sentiment am I bringing to this to where I can create the best possible inputs so I can get what I want on the other side.
The old garbage in, garbage out.
That's right. Garbage in, garbage out, diamonds in, diamonds out.
Now, you're talking about inputs. You're in Texas, I'm in New Jersey. If right now the two of us were to do a Google search for, I don't know, best AI consultants, you'd get one set of results, I'd get a different set of results because of our geography.
Most likely.
Now, if you ask ChatGPT to do something, and I ask ChatGPT to do the same exact thing using the same exact input that you used, won't we get the same exact output?
Probably not. It'll be very similar. And the quality of the result will be very similar, but it will probably depend on a few factors. So I haven't actually tested this, but one thing that ChatGPT can do is it can remember what you asked it for in the past. And you can also program it to think and respond in a certain way. You can actually give it instructions. Like every time I give you a command, I want you to think like this. And it can also, it has memory to remember the things that you had asked it before. And so because of that, our answers are going to start diverting just a little bit, but it'll be pretty similar.
You had mentioned machine learning. Explain what machine learning is and how you go from simple AI to machine learning.
Yeah, so here's the best way to put it. Okay, so machine learning really is the field of study, if you will, in artificial intelligence that focuses on the development of some algorithms that make a machine figure out processes a little bit faster. I know that's like a word salad, right?
Okay.
But machine learning is taking feedback from the results that it's putting out and saying, hey, was this what you wanted? No, this wasn't what I wanted. Go back and try it again. Oh, okay. Thanks for the feedback, boss. You know, and so a lot of times what will happen is, is this a video podcast? Am I able to share my screen?
It is a video podcast, and you are now able to share your screen.
Okay. So I will show you what I mean.
Okay.
And I'm going to pull this up.
Should work.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just here on ChatGPT, and I'm going to say, tell me what machine learning is.
Okay.
And it's going to answer the question based on the data that it has. It's going to answer that.
Okay.
And then we're able to tell it, hey, I don't like that answer. That's not the best answer. Please be more specific. So this is just an example, right? So
Okay.
It gave me an answer, and I'm going to say, great effort. I don't like that answer. Give me a more specific one. And now it's going into more detail. And so we can call that, we just did an exercise on machine learning about machine learning. And so it's getting more specific. The other way that we can do this is give me an image of, let's just see what happens here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to know who you are, but we'll see if we can. Oh, I can't do that. So log in real quick. I don't know why it asked me to log in. And so what we can do, though, is we can create an image of a man on a boat. And the thing that we can do here, this is where it's really focusing on machine learning, is when it creates images, it asks you for feedback on this image. Like, did you like this? Bad response. Didn't like it. Boo. All right. So I'm going to say, no, thanks. And then it's going to give some feedback.
Well, let's hang on 1 second. Let's
Mhm.
just say you like it and you decide you want to use it. How do you know that that's not a photograph that's copyrighted and you can't use it?
Yeah, good question. And the answer is, technically speaking, you don't. There is some debate and gray area here on what is actually copyrighted and what's not. According to ChatGPT and OpenAI, they're forming their own images that are not infringing on anyone else's copyright. Are they right about that? Well, that's actually a pretty hot topic of debate right now. So It's unclear if they're right about that or not. It's unclear what the original inspiration of this image actually is. So you kind of have to, buyer beware on this and use your own discretion. If this looks substantially similar to some other image, then somebody may have a case against that. The chances of that happening are not zero, but I think they are not very high because it does actually create an image based on your inputs. But going back to what I said, better inputs, better outputs. This is a very generic request, create an image of a man on a boat. But the more specific I get, the less likely it is that I'm going to be copying somebody else's work. Like, for instance, if I asked it to, paint me the Mona Lisa. Now, technically speaking, the Mona Lisa is not copyrighted because it was painted hundreds of years ago, but it does say, I can't recreate or modify famous artworks like the Mona Lisa, but I can create an original piece inspired by classic portrait styles. That's something I can do. And so that inspiration, if it's far enough away, then you probably aren't going to get in any trouble.
Great talk. All right. Now, what if you had mentioned, let's do write me something in the style of Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So
now hang on.
Okay.
How does it know that you mean Robin Williams, sadly the late actor comedian, and not Robin Williams, who lives on Main Street in Dallas?
Great question. So same deal here. If we asked it to write in the style of Bruce Hurwitz, well, it has the internet has gigabytes and gigabytes of data and information and interviews, videos, and transcripts of Robin Williams. He's produced a ton of content, and a lot of people have talked about him. And so it can go and pull from many, many sources to get an idea of what Robin Williams might sound like if he were writing an article about whatever it is that you're trying to do. Same thing with Jurassic Park, which was a mega blockbuster hit. Lord of the Rings won like 11 Oscars. It has to be. Ernest Hemingway is one of the most famous authors to ever live. And so these are people that have mountains and mountains of data that the machine can pull from and get a sense of what they're like.
Now,
I asked it to write like me. If I gave it emails that I've written and books that I've written, if I fed all of that in and said, I want you to write in this tone and style like me, it could do that, but I would have to directly feed it that information because it's not as easy to find on the internet.
Now, I think it's safe to assume that these days the most famous singer is Taylor Swift.
Okay.
If you were to ask ChatGPT to write a song, lyrics and music in the style of Taylor Swift, would that be in any way a copyright infringement?
I think if you're writing in the style of someone and you're not directly copying their work, then you're probably okay. But I will also say I'm not a trademark or copyright attorney, so that's not legal advice.
Yeah, understood. I'm going to actually stop the share because I have one final question to ask, and I want to put up your contact information.
You got it.
And I also want to thank you for this because you made AI easy enough for a dummy like me to understand it.
Well, I'm not saying you're dumb, but that's the goal.
That's all right. I said it. And in case I forget any aunts, I forget the name you used.
Sheila.
Stephanie?
Any Aunt Sheila.
Aunt Sheila with complaints, contact Josh. Any vegans, contact Josh. If it's kosher, send me the steak. And
there you go.
Final question.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything I did not ask you, which you wish I had asked you? And if I had asked you, what would you have said?
The one thing we didn't talk about is how AI can automate your communication. We talked about how we can use AI as a content production assistant, which is great if you need to produce a lot of content. But a lot of us, if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur and you are working 16 hours a day, your phone's ringing off the hook, you got emails coming in all of the time, somebody's texting you about that job you were supposed to do last week. It's overwhelming for us to keep up with all of that and also do our jobs and also take care of our families and also do all of the other things that we need to do to keep our business afloat. AI can automate 80 to 90% of your sales and customer support communication as long as you can do it. You can get AI to do it. Now, if you're not great at running your business, AI is not going to save you. You got to be good with your systems and your processes. You got to have a great product, a great sales presentation. You got to have great customer service. And as long as you have that, you can get AI to do 80 to 90% of it, which frees up your valuable time to focus on higher value tasks. And that's really what we do and what we focus on is we talk to people who want to get this stuff off their plate, but again, they don't want to become tech geniuses. They don't want to mess with code or figure out prompts or keep up with the latest shiny object. They just want it to work. And so there's ways to do that, but again, coming from an AI dude, like heed these words. The vehicle is just a vehicle. The person driving the vehicle is what matters. If you can sell your product, we can help you sell your product with AI. You never have to know the first thing about AI. You just have to understand people and relationships. And as long as you focus on people and relationships and providing a great service to people so that you can maintain those relationships, then AI is just a cog in the wheel. It happens to be a cog in the wheel that can reduce your workload by about 90%. But keep in mind, you can apply this to literally any other thing, and it's going to come down to people, relationships, and service.
Josh, I want to thank you. This has been fabulous. I really appreciate it, and I'm sure our viewers do as well. So
Yes, sir, absolutely.
I'm Bruce Hurwitz. Thank you for watching, and as always, please stay focused on success.